Hi Capricorn, welcome to your September 2016 general tarot reading. So as you can see, I've already laid out the cards. It's so funny because I actually smushed them around on the table and I was filming, but I did not like the way that the reading was going in terms of how I was expressing myself, and so I'm just doing it again. I didn't get very far, I only got about 7 minutes into it, and it's easier for me right now to just do it over again than to try to edit. So I'm just going to repeat what I said, but perhaps say it more concisely. So I was talking about the first card. That's as far as I got, actually. And this is the overall theme of September. And this is the Moon card, a major arcana card. And it can relate to creativity. It can also relate to deception. And so, this could be a situation, and and I just thought of something. We do have a lunar eclipse that's happening in Pisces. So that could be very interesting in terms of you maybe connecting with somebody on the internet, or it could be an ending. I think it would be kind of like someone, maybe you were talking to someone on the internet and you found out they were married, and so you said, okay, that's it. But whenever you get these eclipses, it's kind of almost beyond your control in a way, because it's not just like a typical full moon, or like in the case of the solar eclipse on the 1st, it's not a typical new moon where it's just, okay, set your intentions. It's really about things changing and letting you know that things are going to change in a certain area. And for you, this would be your 9th house of higher education and travel, especially long distances like foreign travel. And what else? Your philosophical framework. It can be, publishing. So some people may decide to publish a book in September, some of you Capricorns, and that might be very much what you should do. But it is tell you the truth, it's a Mercury retrograde, so starting something new or kind of putting that through might not be the best idea. But something, if you already have some sort of book that you put out, maybe it didn't do so well, and then all of a sudden you realize it's starting to sell like hotcakes. So it might be something along those lines. But this card, I was focusing on that lunar eclipse because it's a full moon, just like depicted in this card. So I was thinking, okay, could there be any significance of the lunar eclipse being in Pisces for Capricorn? And, if you have some kind of blog that you're working on, maybe you'll finish it at that time. But again, it still will be during the Mercury retrograde. So it might be that you discover something about somebody that you have been communicating with online, or maybe you discover something about a sibling. But it could be also some kind of deception that is, taking place, where you and another person are, in some kind of relationship, and maybe they are not telling you the whole truth. It could be in a business situation, though, in a work situation. Maybe you thought you were going to get a promotion, and your boss told you this cockamamie story about what was really happening, and it's not the truth. It's something that was told to you to get you to shut up and forget about it. And so that may keep you in the dark. But, these kind of things sometimes will come out at a later date. But, so there might be something going on behind the scenes that you're not aware of. Let's look at the recent past, and that is the 6 of Cups. Some sort of blast from the past. Maybe you hear from somebody from, this is like, it's cups, so it's like a relationship. It's not just, you know, a business partnership or anything. It's definitely an emotional connection. So it could be, you know, this connects with children. So, you know, if you think about deception, it could be that, you know, you are wondering if you are, you know, if you have fathered a child, if you are a man. You know, maybe you have heard, oh yeah, that's your child. And you're being told by the mother, you know, a bunch of bull. And so you're wondering what's going to happen. And actually, you may go to the judge and do something about that. But for other people, it could have to do with some other type of situation from the past that is coming back to you. Maybe you have a high school sweetheart, and all of a sudden out of the blue, which, you know, can happen during Mercury retrogrades, where you hear from someone in, you know, that you haven't heard from in a long time. You hear from this person and you think that, wow, maybe this was the one that got away. I think I'm going to meet this person in person. And maybe you're communicating electronically. And this is kind of like telling you, you know, make sure you know exactly what's going on. Because don't get swept up by the nostalgia of the situation, which, you know, makes you feel like you're a kid again. Because you might be really disappointed in, you know, finding out what's really going on. Now, the near future is the Emperor card. So if this is a work situation, this might be an arbiter. This might be a boss. This is somebody in control and command. And it might be like a judge if it's some kind of child custody, or maybe, you know, even it could have something to do with marriage. It really could. The Emperor could be somebody of the legal profession. It's attributed also to, you know, the military and the law enforcement agencies. But so it could be somebody from that line of work. But it could, for some of you, you may seek the opinion of somebody who has expertise with the law in order to sort out whatever's going on, especially if you feel like you're being lied to about something. It also could relate to a work situation, yeah, where you need someone to come in between you and the other party to get to the bottom of things. And, you know, here's a perfect example. Let's say you got fired and you don't know why, and you know, are seeking some kind of understanding. It could be, you know, people may have gotten fired because they have children, and they may have told you, made up some excuse about why you were fired, and it was really because you have children and they felt like you were taking off too much. There was something I wanted to say about this. Oh, I wanted to talk about astrological signs that might be involved. The moon could connect to Pisces. I've seen it be attributed to Pisces. The moon rules the sign of Cancer, but they're both water signs. So, and you see there's water below. It actually has a Cancer down there. I mean, a crab. So it's probably like talking about Cancer, but I could see like a Neptunian, Piscean influence too. In the recent past, we have a water sign. The cups are water signs, so either Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. And then for the near future, we have the Emperor connected to Aries. So if any of those people are, you know, in your life, that may be what is happening. The higher message is the Ace of Swords, and I think that this is kind of symbolizing you. You know, it's such a contrast to this card, because the Ace of Swords is all about cutting through the crap and getting to the truth. And really being kind of a zealot for the truth. Someone who wants to just get right to it. Cut to the chase. But it can indicate that you have a new way of thinking about something. And it could be a personal relationship. You may have decided that you've had enough of the lies. And, you're really committed to, being with somebody that you can trust. Maybe you have felt like you could not trust that person. But it also is that you may just want to start all over. You may not want to, dwell in the past. And you may just want to kind of forge a new trail and be done with the people that represented that old way of thinking. What crosses you is the Four of Swords. This is a card of, I got a lot of swords cards, so there is probably going to be a lot of communication that you engage in during the month of September, but you have to make sure that you get enough rest, because you may be mentally worn out and it may affect you physically, and you may think, well, I'm not really doing anything strenuous, so I have no reason to recuperate from anything, because it's what this card represents. But it could be like you've been doing a lot of thinking or a lot of talking for whatever reason, maybe because you are involved with something, and so you have to make sure that you do not neglect to really, unwind and make a point of it, because if you are going through a legal situation of some sort, and maybe it's not formal, maybe it's something, mediation at work, and you have to testify or do something where you have to get together documents, and it might be very stressful because other people in the workplace may be against you. They may be sucking up to the boss and trying to take the boss's side, and you're kind of left alienated from the rest of the people there. You're going to have that fortitude, and you can only do that if you take care of yourself. The attitude to adopt during this time is represented by the Hierophant card. So this is about seeing the bigger picture, the spiritual message of all this. If you are going through some kind of, situation that, we call like a legal battle or anything like that, remember that this too shall pass. And always to seek the highest, vibration and best outcome for everyone. Not to get consumed by thoughts of revenge or greed or any of the lower emotions that take over, especially when people think that they have been wronged. It's very easy to get caught up in that. And it's understandable why somebody would feel like they have, been treated unfairly, and they want to kind of let the other person know what it feels like by whatever it is that they do. And the problem with that, obviously, is that it doesn't resolve your situation, and it lowers your vibration. So the Hierophant is about you seeking that higher ground and residing there. You might have to make some difficult choices and do things that will cause you to be considered controversial, but in the long run, you still will come out looking good if you maintain your dignity and respect other people's dignity. Now, if you're not going through any kind of major overhaul, These cards can simply mean that you are in a more creative place right now. Maybe you're enjoying your children and you're not really that ambitious. And maybe there's an Aries person or a military person who is coming into your life. And it could be that you're starting something new, and so you're just kind of not really resting enough. And, you know, so you may just have a less eventful and less stressful month of September, some of you Capricorns. I guess I was going into the more dramatic interpretation. So let's see here. Where are we? So the advice is the Lover's card. So this is about making a choice. Sometimes this might have to do with you, if you are, if you've met somebody, maybe reunited with somebody from the past. This is a card of becoming intimate with somebody, not just, you know, surface stuff. Something as intimate as you can get. Now, obviously, we see that they're naked. It could be a little bit of that kind of activity, but it could be just on the emotional level too, where you're not just being superficial, you're really bearing your soul with the other person or to the other person. And this could relate to the sign Gemini. So I've been getting all these Swords cards. There might be somebody who is an air sign, which would include Gemini, but also Libra and Aquarius. And maybe they have been causing problems, actually, because this is in the Challenge position and it's a Sword card. So we'll see about that. But it could mean that if you are somebody that's been feeling alienated by your business, I mean your company, you may decide to kind of branch off and either gain your own clients that you partner up with, you know, one-on-one, or have a business partner. Maybe that's how you resolve the issue of having to do everything on your own. You kind of connect with somebody else and you start your own business. Now, as I explained when I did it the first time, I did initially pick this as the outcome, the Three of Swords. And the Three of Swords is not, you know, I'm sure that I could think of some positive interpretation, but in general, I think of a lot of heartbreak. It could be, though, that you decide to just cut somebody off very abruptly. In other words, like stop the bleeding. If you've kind of held on for a long time, you may decide to just cut it to the quick and let it go very abruptly, very, I was going to say suddenly, but I meant very decisively. Sometimes this can relate to heart surgery, but we're talking about, you know, I don't like to say, oh, you're going to have your chest opened up, you know. I think mostly of emotional matters. So I thought, okay, well, let me pick another card to end on a good note, but also for clarification. I got like another one that's like related to insomnia and anxiety. So as outcomes, we obviously do not like that. I think that this is like a cautionary tale, because if you are someone who has dragged your feet, maybe you have stayed with somebody who's been lying to you and you know they're lying to you and you're seeking the truth. You want the truth, but you just haven't had the guts to sever the relationship, and this would be about severing it. Then you may end up continuing that anxious state, because it's going to be an anxious state. So let me just pick the card at the bottom, okay? King of Pentacles. So we'll put this one here too. Okay, so that goes along with this idea of, you know, obviously you're an earth sign. I think you're the King of Pentacles, okay? So I think that it's giving you a message that you have the ability to be your own boss. You have the ability to be very prosperous, very authoritative, in control of both your finances, and maybe even have people working under you. I think that you're almost more suited to that than being a subordinate employee for somebody else. I think you're more naturally suited as the person in charge. So that might be what you need to focus on, is if you're not in that position right now, getting into that position, because it seems to me that you have been experienced this already, and maybe you will continue to experience it until you deal with it, because especially if you do not trust the people that you're working with. In a love relationship, this could be the father of the child. Again, as I said, there may be a child involved somehow, and some deception surrounding a child. Maybe you were lied to, and you're saying, I am the father. I am the father. I'm going to be the father. Nobody's going to tell me otherwise. Who knows? For some people, it could be that you were lied to. The person you're with is a father, has a child with somebody else, and they didn't tell you, and maybe you found out through the internet, as I say. With Pisces, with that lunar eclipse, you may find out something I was going to say unpleasant, but just something that's a revelation on the internet. That's on September 16th. And you're like, excuse you? Oh, you told me you were single. You're married with 3 children. Oh, isn't that lovely? But it could also be that the person that you're going to end up with is an earth sign. And that would be a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. So yeah, it looks pretty interesting, Capricorn. A lot of major arcana energy, which suggests major changes. Ace of Swords certainly suggests that. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a great month. Oh, you know what? I did forget. I wanted to read you your energy oracle card. Man holding a heart. Okay, let me sit this down here, because this might give us a little bit more to go on. It's number 45. Yeah, that's funny. Kind of going along with the King of Pentacles, actually. Man holding a heart. Male dealing with family, love, or emotions. This tender man sits with flowers all around, holding a heart in his hand. For a man, this signals a greater clarity about emotions and their purpose in your life. There could be a more balanced approach to family and love at this time. Even if these have been confusing experiences for you in the past, confusing experiences. For some, this card upright could signal the presence of a new man in your life, one who tends to be more thoughtful and aware. Whether or not this man is a love interest or a friend, he brings a high intention to help where personal projects, family, or home issues are concerned. So I wonder if this would correspond with the King of Pentacles. It almost seems like the King of Cups, but they talked about the home and the practical matters. So yeah, maybe that is connected to that last card that I drew. But it's interesting because when I look at the analytics, it typically says that my male audience is between 18 and 20% of the overall people who watch. So that's obviously the vast minority of people are, is that even proper way of putting it, are males. And I always am so glad when I get male clients because it's not very common. And I think that men, because of the way that they're socialized and in general, if I go to a yoga class, I'm going to see mostly women. Some of these things in our society are considered female activities because it involves going within. The yang or the masculine energy is very outward directed. So that's how men are kind of conditioned, is to, make their mark on the world, not in the private area of the home. And so I think it's really wonderful when men, can touch their, can kind of get in touch with that yin or feminine part that's intuitive and reflective. I think that's great, just like for women to be empowered, but it has to be with both genders. It can't just be women being empowered to, go out into the world, but men are supposed to be there too. No, we have to have integration. And so in any case, I hope that for, obviously this is a general reading, but at least some of the cards I hope resonated with what's happening in your personal life. If you'd like a personal love reading, please click on the link below, Capricorn. Otherwise, have a terrific month. Bye.